Ethan Carter walked through the rain-soaked streets of downtown Chicago, heart pounding. The warehouse he and Ryan Matthews had been planning to use was empty, every crate gone. Betrayal stung like a knife. Ryan had sold him out to Victor Hayes, the infamous crime boss. Determined, Ethan clenched his fists, vowing to track Ryan and reclaim what was stolen before Hayes could ruin everything. The night was dark, but his resolve burned brighter than ever. Ethan returned to his small Chicago apartment, drenched and furious. His sister Maya looked up from the kitchen table, concern etched on her face. "Ethan, what happened?" she asked softly. He took a deep breath, hiding his trembling hands. "Ryan, he betrayed us. Hayes has the shipment now," Ethan whispered. Determined, he began planning his next move, knowing he had to gather evidence before confronting them. Every second counted. Ethan spotted Ryan laughing inside a dim downtown bar, surrounded by shady figures, heart racing. He waited outside, clenched fists hidden. When Ryan stepped out, Ethan's voice cut through the night. "Ryan, why?" Ryan smirked. "You never had what it takes. Ethan Hayes showed me the truth." Rage surged, but Ethan restrained himself, silently planning a revenge that would bring Hayes down. Determined to take control, Ethan began tracking Hayes' operations secretly. He followed deliveries, memorized faces, and took photos of illegal exchanges. Each night, he stayed awake, documenting every transaction. Detective Laura Simmons, investigating Hayes for months, received anonymous tips, unaware they came from Ethan. Every step he took brought him closer to exposing the betrayal and reclaiming justice. At home, Ethan pored over maps and notes, connecting every clue. Maya peeked through the door, worry in her eyes. "Are you safe, Ethan?" she whispered. He nodded grimly, hiding his fear. He knew confronting Ryan and Hayes directly without preparation was suicide. With careful planning, Ethan prepared a trap, relying on Detective Simmons' investigation to finally bring justice. The weight of betrayal pushed him forward. The trap was set at an abandoned Chicago factory on the outskirts of the city. Ethan led Ryan and Hayes there under the guise of a secret meeting. Police surrounded the building ready to strike. Ryan's confident smile faded as he noticed the unexpected presence of law enforcement. Ethan stepped forward, voice calm but icy. "You chose him over everything, Ryan. Now it ends." His revenge was no longer a fantasy, it was about to unfold. Inside the factory, Hayes tried to flee, but every exit was blocked. Detective Simmons coordinated the arrests with precision. Ethan's heart pounded, not from fear, but from the intensity of finally seeing justice unfold. Ryan trembled, realizing that the man he had betrayed could not be stopped. Every betrayal, every lie, every stolen shipment all leading to this moment. Ethan's revenge was precise, calculated, and inevitable. Ethan approached Ryan one last time. "This is your end," he said quietly. Ryan hung his head, unable to meet Ethan's gaze. The weight of betrayal crushed him. Hayes was handcuffed and led away by the police. Ethan felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Revenge had been served, but the wounds of betrayal ran deep. He glanced at Maya's worried face, knowing some scars would never fade. Days later, Ethan sat on the balcony of his Chicago apartment, overlooking the city lights. The storm of betrayal had passed, but memories lingered. He called Maya, who reminded him of the future he still had. Justice had been done, but Ethan knew life would always carry the shadow of Ryan's betrayal. Determined to rebuild, he promised himself to never let trust be so easily broken again. Ethan returned to work, quietly rebuilding what was lost. He stayed vigilant, remembering Hayes' reach and Ryan's betrayal. Detective Simmons occasionally checked in, acknowledging his help in the case. Ethan had learned that trust was fragile, and revenge, though satisfying, could never heal every wound. The city moved on, but he remained alert, ready for whatever darkness might emerge next. Ethan discovered that Hayes' network extended beyond Chicago. He traced secret shipments to neighboring states, realizing betrayal had a wider reach. Every new lead added pieces to the puzzle. He mapped connections, noting key players. Detective Simmons encouraged caution, but Ethan's determination to dismantle Hayes' empire was unwavering. Every move he made was careful, precise, and calculated. Late at night, Ethan followed a black van to a secluded dock. Shadows hid him as men unloaded crates. Cameras captured it all, every illegal exchange recorded. The thrill of being so close to the truth fueled his resolve. Each photo was evidence, each observation a step toward justice. He reminded himself, patience was key. One wrong move could ruin everything he'd worked for. Ethan returned home, exhausted but determined. Maya noticed bruises on his arms, worry etched across her face. "You're pushing too far," she warned. He smiled faintly, hiding his fears. Every risk was worth a chance to end Hayes' corruption. The line between justice and revenge blurred, but Ethan reminded himself that this was more than anger, it was righting a wrong. The next night, Ethan intercepted a coded message between Hayes' associates. He decoded shipment times, routes, and participants. With this intel, Detective Simmons coordinated a sting operation. Ethan's role remained secret, but he felt the adrenaline of impending justice. Every betrayal he'd suffered fueled the anticipation Hayes' empire was finally showing cracks. Ethan tailed Ryan discreetly, watching him meet shady contacts in a downtown parking lot. Ryan's arrogance was still there, unaware of Ethan's careful surveillance. Each movement was recorded, every gesture noted. The thrill of silent observation was tempered by the risk one mistake could blow his cover. Ethan reminded himself that patience and precision would win this battle. Detective Simmons arranged a meeting with Ethan at a quiet cafe. Over steaming coffee, she praised his detailed observations but warned of Hayes' dangerous reach. Ethan listened, nodding, internalizing every caution. He knew the road ahead was perilous, yet the vision of justice kept him going. Every betrayal he endured now became the fuel for meticulous planning. Ethan discovered Ryan had been double-crossed by Hayes before. This revelation fueled both anger and strategic advantage. Ryan was arrogant but vulnerable. Ethan noted it meticulously. Understanding Ryan's motivations became a key part of dismantling Hayes' operation. Every detail counted. Nothing could be overlooked in his careful orchestration of justice. Using hidden cameras, Ethan recorded a secret meeting between Hayes and key lieutenants. Plans for smuggling were laid bare, their arrogance evident. He collected proof silently unseen. Each frame added weight to the impending arrests. The satisfaction of uncovering truth without confrontation strengthened Ethan's resolve. He would see justice executed flawlessly. Ethan noticed a pattern in Hayes' shipments, frighteningly predictable yet complex. Mapping it carefully, he predicted the next location. Detective Simmons prepared a raid, but Ethan's insight gave them an edge. Every piece of evidence collected was a strike against betrayal, a blow to corruption. Ethan's meticulous planning made him a silent force in the fight for justice. On a foggy morning, Ethan shadowed Hayes' convoy to a warehouse near the river. Mist curled around the vehicles, obscuring vision. Every crate, every person was documented. He felt both fear and exhilaration. The stakes were higher than ever. Success meant exposing betrayal. Failure meant risking everything. Ethan's heart pounded, yet his focus remained unwavering. Inside the warehouse, Hayes' men moved crates carelessly, unaware of Ethan's watchful eyes. He captured evidence of smuggling and illegal deals. The danger of discovery heightened every sense. Ethan moved like a shadow, silent and precise. Each photograph was another step toward dismantling Hayes' empire and avenging the betrayal he had endured. Returning home, Ethan compiled every image, note, and observation. He meticulously labeled each piece, creating an irrefutable record of Hayes' crimes. Maya peeked through the door, concern in her eyes. "You're risking too much," she whispered. Ethan simply nodded, knowing that justice often demanded risk. Every calculated move now brought him closer to the ultimate confrontation. Detective Simmons arranged a controlled interception at Hayes' main hub. Ethan provided intel discreetly, unseen but essential. As Hayes' men arrived, law enforcement was ready. Ethan observed from a distance, adrenaline surging. Years of planning, betrayal, and careful surveillance culminated in this moment. Justice was about to strike with precision. The sting operation unfolded perfectly. Hayes' lieutenants were apprehended, shipments seized. Ethan's meticulous planning ensured zero collateral damage. Ryan's face showed panic and disbelief. Ethan realized the power of patience, strategy, and careful observation. Betrayal had led to downfall, and every calculated step brought justice closer. Ryan attempted to flee but was intercepted by Detective Simmons. Ethan stepped forward, confronting him quietly. "It's over," he said. Ryan's arrogance evaporated into shame. Hayes was in custody, his empire crumbling. Ethan felt the weight of revenge, but also a sobering reminder of betrayal's deep scars. Justice was served, but the emotional toll lingered. After the arrests, Ethan revisited the evidence he'd collected, making sure every detail was documented for court. He knew Hayes' influence might try to taint proceedings. Each photo, note, and map was a shield of truth. Maya brought him coffee, her quiet support grounding him. Ethan felt the calm after the storm, but vigilance remained. Justice required more than arrests. Court day arrived. Ethan watched from the gallery as Hayes' empire was exposed. Witnesses testified, evidence presented meticulously. Ryan fidgeted nervously. Ethan's meticulous planning had ensured nothing could be hidden. The satisfaction was tempered by lingering anger, yet he remained composed. Justice unfolded publicly, every betrayal acknowledged. After court, Ethan walked the Chicago streets at night. Neon lights reflected off wet pavement. Memories of betrayal lingered like shadows. He paused at a bridge, looking at the river flowing silently. Justice was done, but scars remained. He reminded himself that life moved forward, and vigilance would always be necessary to prevent darkness from returning. Maya and Ethan shared a quiet evening at home, reflecting on the ordeal. She gently reminded him that, despite betrayal, he had preserved his integrity. Ethan smiled faintly, realizing revenge had been a path to truth, not just anger. He began thinking about rebuilding, trusting cautiously, and cherishing the bonds that remained. Ethan returned to work, but with a new perspective. He prioritized vigilance and integrity, ensuring Hayes' remnants could not regain power. Detective Simmons occasionally checked in, praising Ethan's contributions. The city moved on, unaware of the silent guardian who had dismantled corruption and prevented further betrayal. He trained himself in observation and subtle surveillance, anticipating threats before they arose. Ethan became a shadow in the city, blending with crowds, noticing details others overlooked. His experience taught him that vigilance was both protection and power, a quiet form of justice. Ethan uncovered minor attempts by Hayes' associates to rebuild influence. Each was carefully monitored and thwarted. The knowledge of betrayal had sharpened his instincts. He learned that justice wasn't always about confrontation. It was often silent, precise, and unseen. Maya encouraged Ethan to find balance, reminding him that not every day could be consumed by past wrongs. He slowly embraced moments of normalcy, walking the city without fear, yet aware of shadows. Revenge had been satisfying, but life demanded more than anger. It required resilience and foresight. Ethan received an anonymous tip about a potential threat from a distant associate of Hayes. Despite the distance, he acted, coordinating with local authorities. His experience had honed patience and precision, allowing him to prevent smaller threats before they escalated. Justice became a continuous vigilance. He reflected on Ryan's betrayal, realizing that some wounds could never fully heal. Trust, once broken, demanded caution. Ethan accepted the lesson, channeling anger into strategy rather than impulsive revenge. Each encounter, each observation, reinforced his resolve to protect what was rightfully his and those he cared about. Detective Simmons invited Ethan to brief a team of new officers about observing criminal behavior and planning careful interventions. He shared lessons learned from Hayes' network, emphasizing patience, evidence collection, and strategic thinking. His knowledge became a tool to prevent future corruption. Ethan occasionally checked on Ryan, who had lost power and influence. Ryan's arrogance was gone, replaced with guilt and reflection. Ethan's presence was silent, a reminder of consequences. The man who had betrayed him now faced the repercussions, reinforcing the delicate balance between justice and vengeance. Months passed, and Ethan helped Maya start a small community project in the city. Amid the quiet work, he found purpose beyond vengeance. Rebuilding trust in the world around him, supporting others, and preventing crime quietly became his new mission. Justice was no longer just about confrontation, it was also creation. Ethan remained vigilant but embraced moments of peace. He patrolled city streets, noticed subtle irregularities, and advised authorities when needed. His life had become a careful balance of observation, protection, and living cautiously. Betrayal had scarred him, but it had also transformed him into a guardian of justice. On a quiet night, Ethan and Maya stood together on the rooftop of their building, gazing at Chicago's skyline. The city was alive, moving forward. Betrayal had left scars, but justice had been served. Ethan knew vigilance would always be necessary, but for the first time in a long while he allowed himself a deep breath. The night felt calm, a fleeting peace earned through courage and resilience.